What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Colin here. Welcome back to your gaming news for the week. Now, last week, wait, was it last week? Yes. Last week I don't think I did gaming news just because I couldn't because of work schedule and everything. So, as always, guys, we're going to do the update to let you guys know what's going on. What games I've been playing, what games I've beat, and what games I'm going to start. Now, let's see. What games was I playing when I talked to you guys last? Skyrim, Watch Dogs 2. Damn, Skyrim, Watch Dogs 2. Season 1 of The Walking Dead. There's another game that had a 2 in it in there, but I'm blanking out. God damn it. The Last Guardian, that was in there. I could have sworn there was something else that had a 2 in it. Well, easiest way to find out. Let's look real quick, shall we? Come on. The hell was it? Oh. Wow. Wow, was I off. Holy shit, was I off. I was thinking Dishonored 2. I finished that game weeks ago. Holy shit. Okay, never mind. Cancel that out. Okay, so then the latest news that would be that you guys either don't know or maybe you do know by now because you watch the channel and everything, but in case you don't, Watch Dogs 2, done. I beat it not 2 days ago. The Last Guardian, done. I beat that 4 days ago. So those games are all wrapped up. No, the endings have not been uploaded to the channel yet. They will be pretty soon, though. And then, so those are done. Season 1 of The Walking Dead, I finished that, so that's done. And I think that was all the stuff that I was on for, yeah, that's all the stuff I was on. So, what I have started now is Season 2 of The Walking Dead. I just started that last night. And Mafia 3, I started that like 3 days ago. And as of tonight, I'll be starting BioShock 2. Okay, guys? Now, as far as January goes, with what new games are coming out that I'll be playing, January only has 2 games. January is actually like a really slow month for me, at least in new games coming out. I have way more than enough content to keep myself occupied during January. So, we're good on that. We don't have to worry. I got enough side content to keep ourselves busy for like a couple months. So, we're good. Don't even worry about that part. I've made sure that I will continue to have games for the channel. Okay, so now, the games that are coming out in January that I will be playing. The biggest title is Resident Evil 7. I will be playing it. It's going to be freaking hilarious because there's probably going to be a lot of jump scares in there that are just going to make me freaking shit my pants. And then also in January is a game called Syndrome, Now, for all the people that are like PC gamers, I'm sure they've probably heard about it, but maybe there's a lot of other people out there that haven't heard about it. It is a horror game. I know it's very heavily based off of like Soma or like a Alien Isolation type thing. You're trapped on a ship in outer space with a bunch of, I guess your crew died and they turned into weird things that want to kill you. That's pretty much all I know about it. I don't really know anything beyond that. But so the two new games are Resident Evil 7, Syndrome, and then we'll be jumping into February. And February is Horizon Zero Dawn and For Honor. Now, plus whatever else I'm working on as well. We'll be going into the February as well. So, we're good. We'll definitely be keeping ourselves busy. Now, as far as what news we got going on today, let's hop into that, shall we? Alright. How Dead Rising 4's Frank West is the new George Bailey. Whoops. Hold on, guys. My bad. Didn't mean to do that. If good old George Bailey ever wielded a chainsaw, you could be certain he'd read the manual, understood the safety procedures, and took care to avoid the kickback zone. Dead Rising 4's Frank West, on the other hand, only ever uses a chainsaw to cleave zombies in two, generally prefers the one-handed swinging approach, and has been known to dual weld while whirling. If George's fort is carving the crispest loin of beef, Frank is happiest carving up undead hordes. So how can It's a Wonderful Life, mild-mannered banker be compared to daring Slayer Frank, whose current kill count dwarfs the entire population of Bedford Falls? It's all about warm-hearted Christmas messages, at least according to Dead Rising 4's executive producer, Bryce Cochran? What is Christmas really about? He said in an interview with Polygon, Christmas is really about loving your family and being good to others. It's not about excess, but the season has become more consumerism. Cochran points out that the Dead Rising series always has poked fun at consumerism right back to the first game in 2006. It took its lead from George A. Romero's 1978 horror flick Dawn of the Dead and made a shopping mall its setting. Although subsequent games have ranged far and wide and have featured different protagonists, Dead Rising 4 takes place in a mall, with Frank West, the hero of the original, back against a zombie plague. The game's main thrust is collecting and crafting weapons that will best cut a swath through messages of groaning animated corpses. That is definitely a grisly prospect, and humor and satire are a big part of the mix. Frank isn't every man, says Cochran. I'm just going with Cochran. That's what it looks like to me. He always acts like he doesn't care, but deep down inside he cares the most. He's willing to put everything on the line to stop this apocalypse from happening because he sees what's going to come out of it. There are no zombies in It's a Wonderful Life, only an angel and some alternate universe shenanigans. George believes his life has been a total waste of time, but an angel shows him the terrible world that might have existed had he never been born. Although George refrains from eviscerating his enemies with weapons made out of ironing boards, he is forced to roam a nightmare world of consumerist outrages. But Frank and George go on a bit of a bender when things don't work out for them, but they sober up fast when it's time to put things right. In It's a Wonderful Life, bad universe, people are mean and selfish, corrupted by a system that cares only for wealth. In Dead Rising 4, the zombies are juxtaposed with Christmas' most greeting excesses, a slavering horde not unlike those witnessed during Black Friday store sales. That's funny, actually. People go crazy Black Friday store sales. Consumers in the mall fighting for the best present. That's not what the season is about. The zombies represent that in a lot of ways, but it's tongue-in-cheek. Dead Rising 4 is a violent game in which players are encouraged to create the most malevolent weapons they can, using consumers' goods and Christmas junk. But Cochran says its main thrust is a humor and Christmas cheer. Frank West is bringing a cheery message. It's over the top for fun that you get from a holiday. This is just about the ridiculous laughter that comes from crafting a really great weapon and having fun with it. All the while with Christmas in the background. All right. That was a good one. I just got a kick out of that. I don't have an Xbox One that can play, the new Dead Rising. But, you know what? If I did, I think I might play Dead Rising 4 on that. Pretty sure I would. But, again, I don't have an Xbox One, so I can't. Because, yeah, that's a PlayStation, that's an Xbox exclusive, not PlayStation. Well, what are you going to do? It's alright. I'm happy with my PlayStation. I mean, if I could afford to, go out and get an Xbox, I would, but as of right now, I can't. So, guys, tell me, what'd you guys get for Christmas? Let me know what you guys got. Did you get some good shit? Did you get some shitty shit? Did anybody get tube socks? Because if you did, throw them back at the person that gave them to you. My Christmas was pretty good. My wife is the shit, and she got me a brand new TV. And she went above and beyond with stuff that she knew I wanted with the TV, but she went above it and got me other stuff that I was not expecting. She got me other stuff that I didn't mention because I knew it was expensive, and that was the reason why I didn't mention it. But she did a bunch of research for me and got me a really good gaming TV. 50-inch 4K Ultra HD. Was not expecting that. Smart TV, so you can get Netflix on it and Hulu and stuff, so that's pretty badass. And yeah, it's awesome TV. I love it. I'm definitely very happy with it. I can't believe that she did that for me, but like I said, my wife rules. And got a couple shirts from her and some other stuff. Matter of fact, I'm wearing one of the shirts right now. Darth Vader, baby. And then at the bottom it says "Join the Empire." What? And then I got 3 other shirts, 2 more Star Wars shirts, and another shirt because you guys know, if you watch my videos, I drink a lot of coffee. She got me a shirt that says "Coffee Slut" on it. I went to get my hair cut yesterday and I wore the shirt into the salon and people found it pretty funny. I was for sure I was going to offend somebody, but no, I didn't. Everyone loved it. They wanted to know where I got it from. Alright guys, sorry. Went on a little side thing there. But yeah, anyways, I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas. I hope you guys all got what you wanted. And, for the first time ever, Cowabunga Gaming has put up a countdown of the best funny moments of 2016. Now, you guys gotta remember, it's my first time doing it. So, it's not gonna be that great and all flashy like a lot of these other YouTubers do, because they know how to edit it. I don't. I just learned how to cut the video down to where the funny moment is, and then piece each video together. Piece each video together. I don't know beyond that how to put a countdown number in there, or how to do voiceover to explain the part that's going to happen when there's a funny moment. I haven't learned how to do all that stuff yet. So I hope you guys like the video I put up. It's like a 45-minute video of all the stuff that I found funny over the year, and I couldn't do a fan-voted one because my fan base, it's not big enough right now to do that. So, hold on, guys. When I do have a big enough fan base, I will put up like a voting poll and have you guys vote for whatever the funniest moment that you guys liked. Sorry, guys. I hope in 2017 my fan base gets a little bit bigger than what it is right now. We'll see what happens. Alright, guys. So yeah, so that means also next year when I do the funniest moments for 2017, I'm hoping that I'll be able to figure out more, like how to put a countdown number in and how to do the voiceover and whatnot. We'll see what happens. As of right now, I don't know. I do want to learn how to make it more fancy, or maybe I could find somebody that knows how to do that kind of stuff and have them edit the video for me. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I can figure it out myself. Like I said, I've never done it before. It's the first time I've ever done it. All I was able to figure out is how to cut the video down and then how to piece each video together. So, next year, we'll see what we can do. And guys, how excited are you for 2017? There's so many good games that are coming out for 2017. I can't wait. I can't wait to start getting funny moments again. It's gonna be awesome. Because like I said, January, starting right off the bat, we got Resident Evil 7, we got Syndrome. February, we got Horizon Zero Dawn. I know I just said, For Honor. March. What the hell do I have in March? I know I have something in March. I think I have 2 other games in March. Hold on, guys. Let me look. I know I have other games in March. What the hell are they? Can't believe I'm blanking out on that. Oh! That's what I have in frickin' March. My bad. Okay, so for March, guys, we're going to have the Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. We're going to have that. We're also going to have Styx, Shards of Darkness, and we're going to have this game called Troll and I. And then whatever else that I might have been doing that's going to roll into March. And then for April, we got Sniper Ghost Warrior 3, and we got Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition. And then once April hits, as of right now, that's as far as I go with new stuff coming out. Reason is because there's nothing been mentioned that's going to come out in May that I know of right now. So, obviously, immediately once I find out what the hell's coming out in May, you guys will know. As of right now, there's nothing written to come out in May. Now, anyways, sorry guys. Let's get back to what we were doing. Okay, now this is going to be a longer one, and it's called Why Alan Wake's Creators Want to Make You the Storyteller. Christmas at Remedy Entertainment these days is almost as much about people getting to know each other as it is about celebrating the holidays. The company is up to 140 employees now, with 30 coming out in the past 4 months alone. I hopped on Skype with Thomas Puha, head of communication for Remedy, and Remedy game director Michael Kassarin, one morning and evening in Espoo, Finland, just as their Christmas party was wrapping up. It was the last company-wide meeting for the year, and everyone got Christmas presents. This time around, though, the presents, a special backpack embolized with the company logo, were hand-delivered to the employees by one another. Each were assigned a random name to bring the bag to. It was a way for people to get to meet folks they may not talk with that often or perhaps never met at all. I like that. That's a good idea. Matter of fact, sorry, I know I'm side-tripping again, but matter of fact, I have my Christmas party coming up pretty soon here. A couple more days and Secret Santa's all around, baby. We wanted to do it on Christmas, or the day before Christmas. Not Christmas Eve, the day before. The day before Christmas Eve was when we wanted to do it, but we were just too busy to do it, so we had to throw it to January, which I've seen a lot of companies have been doing that. They throw their Christmas parties into January. Anyways. The spat of new hiring this year is a sign of a healthy company. A developer that is growing and, in this case, changing. If a company is around for as long as we are, changes in demand. Puha tells me this year has seen a significant kind of change, but it's been in the works for years. Remedy now has 2 teams and uses its own technology, like an in-house game engine, to build its creations. At first blush, the company also seems to be moving away from what has always powered its many successes, games deeply rooted in stories which lean heavily on often flawed, often interesting characters. Ask a fan of Remedy or games in general about the company, and they're likely to talk about the first Max Payne and his nightmarish personal journey through loss, or Alan Wake and his I'm trying to figure out what this word is. Phantasmagorical life, caught between self-created fiction and confusing reality, or maybe even Quantum Break's labyrinth nest of competing storylines. Now, Alan Wake is a game I wish I had the chance to play, but again, when it came out, I couldn't get it. My life was just really hectic at that point, so there's no way I was going to be able to play it, and I wish that they would make another one. That would be awesome, because I would play it in a heartbeat, but I don't know if they're going to or not. I have no idea, but it would be really cool if they did. Oh, and the Max Payne games. I love Max Payne, especially the last one that came out, which was, I think, the 3rd one. That I got a chance to play, and it was so much fun. All of those games shared not just the benefits found in the profundity of novels, but also a singular, inescapable shortcoming: single-player games. Like novels are at their core designed to be experienced once. Sure, you can replay a game you just love. I lost my place. God damn it. Just like you can crack open a book you've already read and give it another go, but the experience remains mostly unchanged. As games and the expectations of the people who play them continue or to evolve, that sort of design doesn't seem like as smart a risk anymore to many in the industry, especially for an independent company with a history of betting it all, each time on one game and hoping things work out. When Remedy announced a while back that it was looking into creating a multiplayer game, the company seemed caught in the same currents of change out of necessity that swept up other major studios in the past few years. Epic Games is in the process of reinventing itself a 4th time, focusing on what the company calls living games, titles that can be constantly nudged in the direction a player is headed in terms of taste and expectation. Ubisoft titles, which also lean heavily on narrative, now almost all share new common elements, open worlds with online connections, perhaps that company's solution to the problem of fickle gamer expectations. And so it is the Remedy now finds itself on the pre-cups of change, looking out at the landscape of what it is to come and trying to find out a way to thrive in this new world of never-ending games, without losing its history or deep ties to storytelling. And then it says there's a title. It says, "It's not a lake, it's an ocean." As a longtime fan of Remedy titles, I can't help but think of a single line from a single game every time a discussion of the publisher comes up. Sometimes a line pops up in my head, even when I'm not talking about games, but instead, some topic that centers on a thing that is actually much bigger than it seems on its surface. After listening to Puha and Karashnin tell me a bit about what the company is striving to pull off with its still unnamed, unknown new project, I think about that sentence again. This time, I say it too. It's an apt metaphor, it seems, for what Remedy wants to achieve. It's not a lake, it's an ocean, I say, quoting the end of Alan Wake, which hints that the story of the game was part of something much bigger. You could say that, Kirsten says. What Remedy wants to do with this mysterious new game, codenamed P7, is to deliver to players not a masterful, creative, but narrowly focused story in a rich world, but a world in which players will find and create their own deeply compelling stories. Essentially, they want to deliver the ocean to players, not the lake. The key starting point for this game was that we tell a story that happens in the world, Krishna says. What we wanted to do was reverse that to create a world where stories happen. This was a key defining point for the game. It allows us to understand a totality of the experience. One second, guys. Un momento. It allows us to understand the totality of the experience we want to create. You opening up and wanting to go into this new universe. That sounds in many ways Alright. Sorry, guys. Got distracted. Squirrel! That sounds in many ways like the sort of thing Ubisoft continued to refine in its Far Cry games. I hesitate to compare it to any existing game, but if we take that element in isolation of Far Cry, that is part of it, he says, we want a strong context, strong sense of purpose and goal. We want those things to be super clear to the player, for there to be a number of things you have to pay attention to and optional elements you can pursue. Will it be as big as most Far Cry games? It's too early to go into that. That's not surprising. When we initially talked about that this interview, Puha warned me that Remedy didn't want to fall into the trap of announcing or detailing this new thing too soon. Instead, he told me we wanted to have a chance for Remedy to discuss game design philosophy without the pressure of trying to sell a particular game. So, Kirchner wouldn't talk about much in terms of the particulars of P7, not the name, not the plot, not the timing, not the platform, not the publisher. But we did talk about how Remedy got there. To the precipitous of... I don't even know how to say that word I'm looking at right now. That's weird. Most words don't stump me. Precipice of big change and the inception of P7. The long journey. If you look back at the traditional Remedy games we produced through the past 21 years, thematically and conceptually, they all had different feels to them. But they're all kind of followed a similar tried and true cinematic gameplay approach. What is important to us with this new project is to expand upon that without losing the Remedy secret sauce. Expand gameplay and find methods to extend the experience and move away from the linear approach. We want to give the player a sense of volition, a sense of control over his or her path. We want them to have more options to be able to customize their own experience. To retain the players, they need to have a strong reason to come back to the experience. So we need to ensure that the game is deep and varied enough to maintain their interest. This idea of the breakaway from Remedy narrative-driven singular experience games is one that has been in the back of the company's collective heads for a while now, particularly in the heads of Kirshner and Remedy's creative director and head writer Sam Lake. But to get to this point, the company had to drive through some other ideas, push out games that played with how they built stories and experimented with how they told tales. By the time Remedy Entertainment got to Alan Wake, it had already moved on from its demo scene roots and past its first almost anachronistic top-down car battle game, Death Rally, the first game that helped establish that Remedy most people think of today. Max Payne was a phenomenal, memorable hit in 2001 and the basis for a solid sequel in 2003. The company was taking in a much-needed break from back-to-back long development, trying to decide what to do next. They threw around some ideas, and one of them turned into Alan Wake, but not the Alan Wake that was released. The game and development around it was for nearly half a year, centered around in creating an open-world experience, but ultimately the team junked that work and started over, deciding that they couldn't deliver that sort of taut and narrative thriller without making it linear. If you go back and look at Alan Wake 10 years ago, you could see us talking about it, about how we dabbled with the idea of driving around in a car in an open environment. You could even see that desire to go in that direction. And then there's a thing that says, introducing the Alan Wake 2 you will never play. That's kind of sad. Damn. Instead, the team leaned into narrative and created something that was designed to be played like a television series, one episode at a time. It also led to something that has since become a common habit in television, binging. Many players ignored the natural breaks of the game's episode and instead played the entire game in one or two sittings. The playful way that Remedy interjected television viewing habits into the game's structure was interesting, but it was also telling of a deeper desire to experiment with that intersection. In many ways, that's what put off the decision to jump into the earlier interest in open worlds and multiplayer for Remedy's next game. Quantum Break was a game we had to do. We were dabbling with the ideas Quantum Break had quite a while. We also wanted to see where it could go. Digital doubles the TV show medium in the gaming. We also saw hints of that in Alan Wake. Not Wank. It kind of had to happen. What we learned was it's challenging to combine this more passive way of telling stories with a game that demands you to be active, and Quantum Break underlined those problems really clearly. We felt it was exploration worth doing. We spent a lot of time making sure the connection points between the TV show and the game were strong and meaningful. It is a tough challenge to make people shift back and forth between active and passive mode. The team learned a lot about storytelling and the use of different mediums by creating Quantum Break. The game also provided a lot of player feedback that Remedy found equally useful. Useful, mostly informing the experience, the lessons, and the runaway that would be needed to create the company's next game. They emphasized key things we wanted to pursue in the future. Expanding the gameplay side, involving different areas, finding ways for players to affect the experience, but it's also important we don't lose the storytelling DNA that we are known for. We want to make sure that wherever we go for gameplay, we still have that to be at the core, just connecting to all the different aspects of the game. In some ways, it seems that P7 is also powered by regret over what could have been. One way to tell a story is to create a rich world you can get to explore. When you look back at Alan Wake and Quantum Break, you can see we spent a lot of time looking at the shape of those worlds, the cities, towns, neat characters, maps. We spent a lot of time in crafting those universes. If you will, the gameplay is actually a linear story through those amazing, complicated worlds. In one way, it's a bit of a lost opportunity. We still want to create strong worlds, but the game should be crafted in such a way that allows this exploration. And then it says Project 7. There's very little Kirshner is willing to tell me about the game. I know because I never fail to ask when I speak with Remedy developers that it is not Alan Wake 2. I also know that while the game is in developers' first big push into multiplayer gaming, it isn't what most would think of when they think multiplayer. Competitive, this new game, P7, is meant to be a cooperative game in an open world that will provide players the space to create and, I suppose, tell their own stories, if only to an audience of one. I also know that this game will be in the sum of the parts and discoveries made a while experimenting in game creation with Alan Wake and Quantum Break, but of course it needs to succeed in the places those games didn't. With the new project, it is important to find a more fluid, more organic way to tell stories without losing the interesting characters, surprising plot, and so on. At the same time, move the gameplay in a direction where it becomes more meaningful. Kirshner tells me, this is the key reason we wanted to find a more streamlined way of telling stories. In previous games, the team seemed to always find itself focusing on the core path. Hold on, guys. One momento. Okay. Okay, in previous games, the team seemed to always find itself focusing on a core path a player took through these robust worlds Remedy was making. They focused so much on the narrow line drawn through the experience that often the game and its world shrank around that narrative. I think they could have been bigger games, easily, Kirshner tells me. Alan Wake had a long history of development, but it was 3 years of events that it took the shape it took. A lot of concepts were created through that journey. It felt like there was this world of concept and complex storyline that was left aside. The key point that we learned from that experience is that the world building we do needs to connect with the gameplay. Gameplay needs to enable organic experience and interactions with the world. And so it will, the team hopes, with P7. Every game preceding this one started with a strong core concept, Kirshner tells me. That concept serves the role of making sure that all of the bits and pieces of the game fit together nearly. In Quantum Break, for instance, the core concept centered around the marriage of the mediums of television and video games into one experience. You can see how that affected everything. You can see how that affected everything about the game, including gameplay, he says. In the case of P7, it seems cooperative gameplay is an integral piece of the game's core concept. Krista tells me that while making a very fine point, Remedy would never do a multiplayer game simply for the sake of adding or creating multiplayer. When we start to think of a new game, we don't think necessarily that it needs to have multiplayer, he says. We look at the concept and ask these questions about what are the different elements that would elevate this game into a unique, special thing. To make it different from others. Part of that process is that we make an effort to ensure that every piece fits together. So this new game will be Remedy dipping its toe into a game that features multiplayer at or near its core. The game is cooperative, Kirshner says. That fits within the theme of the game we are creating and supports it, makes it even stronger. This is our first step toward shared experience between players. The game's coming after the game will feature bigger multiplayer than this. Despite the new approach and desire to include multiplayer, Remedy's Sam Lake says a strong narrative is still very much a part of the new game. We announced earlier that we are exploring multiplayer elements for our future games, but that doesn't mean that those games wouldn't have a strong narrative, he says. Like Michael explained, I felt that co-op offers interesting opportunities for storytelling in games. Also, the multiplayer is part of the long-term exploration we're doing, not the main focus of the game in the making right now. all of this is to say that for Remedy, the push into multiplayer games isn't really driven by a business decision. This is something we need to do to evolve as a company, as game developers. All of these elements we talked about in something we are extremely enthusiastic to do. This is a really natural step for Remedy to expand the experiences and just to give the player more choice, more ways to express themselves. And it's important to note that Remedy doesn't see this as stepping away from the narrative single-player games that they are so well known for. This is not a choice made to stop doing one in favor of the other. This approach doesn't mean we wouldn't do a new Alan Wake, Krishna says. I do think we are going to see less AAA linear story-driven games, but I don't think storytelling in games will go away. I think indie developers have really stepped up in the last few years. There are strong characters and really excellent stories being told. You might not see the same AAA treatment, but I don't think anyone minds that. Maybe that's even a plus. Indie developers that make Risk. Oh. Okay, never mind. That was the end of it. Alright, that was a pretty long one, right guys? Jesus. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a long one. Holy crap. 41 minutes already. Holy shit. Alright, guys. That's the end of it for this week. We'll see what happens next week. Like I always tell you guys now, with the way that my work schedule has been getting, some weeks I can do this video, other weeks I can't because my schedule gets messed up. So I'll hopefully see you guys next week, but I can't make a promise because I don't know. I don't know what my schedule is for next week. I don't find out until like Saturday or Sunday. Then I know what my schedule is. So we'll see what happens, guys. Alright, guys, do me a big favor. Smash that like button. If you guys like what I'm doing here, please become a subscriber. If you guys want to follow me on any of my social media sites, links will be in the description down below. My name's Colin, aka Mr. Cowa. I want to thank you guys for watching today. Hope you guys enjoyed this. And just remember, guys, we are starting Mafia 3, Season 2 of The Walking Dead, BioShock, I'll be starting that tonight, and then the 2 games that we got coming out that are new are Resident Evil 7 and Syndrome. Alright, guys? Just remember that, and that's what's going on this month. Alright, guys? Take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys later.